everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Top Four, where we are over four things that we think you guys will be interested in. We're probably wrong. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Excellent.
All right, we're going way back
Hobbies.
in time now. Some of you kids probably don't even know what we're going to be talking about, but we're going to be talking about Hanna Barbera cartoons from when we were kids and the heroes that they used to have on them. Now, this might be a little bit of a foreign idea to you kids, but back in the day, Saturday morning, when kids ruled the world, every single TV station, and there was only four or five maybe, ran nothing but cartoons from like 6 a.m. until Soul Train or bowling or wrestling came on.
About
So
6 to noon.
about 6 to noon, maybe to 1 if you were lucky. And they would rotate these cartoons every season, and there'd be this big rollout of the cartoons on the Friday night beforehand called the Friday Night Saturday Morning Cartoon Special, where they'd show you all the new cartoons. And some of the best, in my opinion, were the new Hanna-Barbera ones. So we're going to go over some of the classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons that rolled out on Saturday mornings, and we're focusing on the superhero ones. Now, Mikey, we were almost the same exact age. The other two were a little bit younger by a couple of years, so we're all watching these.
Right.
What's your fave?
I'm going to go very old school, and I am going to go with Quick Draw McGraw as El Kabong.
El Kabong!
So Quick Draw McGraw was already, as far as Hanna-Barbera characters go, he was from the late 1950s, early 1960s. He was the third big cartoon after Rough and Ready and um, Huckleberry Hound.
Rough and
And
Ready were two mice, and Huckleberry had a hound.
no, Rough and Ready was a cat and mouse.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But anyway, Quick Draw McGraw is the sheriff because westerns were really big at that time, so they were using that to parody the westerns. He had a sidekick called Bobo Louie. Baba Louie, like all of the other sidekicks in those days, was an ethnic stereotype, but also smarter than the hero that they partnered up with. Um, and so they decided they wanted to parody Zorro, which led to El Kabong. Now, recently, Max had a show called Jellystone that was very entertaining. They take the old Hanna-Barbera characters. So if you can look for El Kabong on the Jellystone cartoon, it's pretty damn funny. You can go, if you want a deep dive into his history, you can go on YouTube and type in the good, the bad, and the Al Kabong. And there's a like 5 minute video that'll tell you exactly all about his history. But I loved him.
I gotta say, Mike, I think this is the beginning, correct me if I'm wrong, of using a character persona as an actor into another feature.
I think Snagglepuss had done it a few times before, but I think it's really close.
What
Yes, but that was episodic. That was within his own show. This is the first spin-off. I think this is the first spin-off show where another character takes on another persona in a long-term cartoon. But I'm
It
not
might
sure.
be.
maybe, I don't know.
It might be. We'd have to look it up. There's some research going into that, but I think so. And I think you're bearing one of the funnier parts of it. The reason he was called El Kabong is because he'd hit you in the face with a guitar.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry I left out that important part.
that is
And I
important.
think it is important because that's how he got his name, and it's a good onomatopoeia. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you hit someone in the face, that's how
Who's
he's
Capone?
he's El Kabong. Tommy, sweet sweet Tommy. What do you got as your fave?
I have Space Ghost. Space Ghost.
Which
Space Ghost is a good one. Space Ghost was a character who was kind of an intergalactic police officer with his two young companions, Jen and Jace, and their monkey, Blip. And they would just be going and basically fighting international crime, if you will. Things would happen in different planets. They had the Phantom Cruiser. Space Ghost had his power bands, and they could all turn invisible. And It was just a great cartoon. And then later
Okay,
on,
okay, but you're showing Space Ghost as a talk show
I
host.
was going to say
These kids
later
probably
on in
never
the
saw the cartoon. So the cartoon, he's flying around as a space guy, a police guy, like you said, and like
in the
that's all they ever thought this was going to go with this character, right?
yes, and then in the 90s he was rebooted as a talk show host on Space Ghost Coast to Coast on the Cartoon Network, which was hilarious.
All right, but he was a very serious cartoon. I want to make sure the kids
Yes,
are getting that. A
very
very
serious
serious
cartoon.
episodic cartoon where
He
him and
also
his sidekicks.
he also had a gold key comic for one point, and then also DC had a couple of small run uh, comics based on the character. But yes, he also gained some notoriety in the 90s for having a talk show.
I think everyone that we're talking about had a couple of comic books. I remember seeing a couple of Okabangs. I know I've seen that one. And Josh, I know I've seen yours.
Yeah.
Josh, who's your fave?
Oh man, I love the Herculites.
They were a great cartoon. And did you have a favorite Herculoid?
Oh, Igu, yeah, I love the big rock gorilla was my fave. But I just I loved everyone. I love all the monsters in it. So the people, meh, but yeah, Rock, Igu, and Tundra were just awesome. Just yeah, totally inspiring into like me trying to find new adventures, read science fiction, and just push into the world of like everything that are like the Herculoids and honorable mention. I don't know why he's not Hanna Barbera, Thundar, the Barbarian. But those two cartoons really just put me on the path to fantasy and science fiction.
Yeah, to adventure. One thing that I liked about the Herculoids that I thought was really stupid, uh, in a Tarzan-like way, the female and male Herculoid guy would zip across the jungle, but the vines were all like super stretchy and they like shoot themselves like bows and arrows. Like they jump against the vine and then spring forward, and that's how they got around the jungle, which is cool. I don't think I've ever seen
Yeah.
that before or since.
Yeah.
Or since, yeah.
Tundra was my favorite character on there. He was kind of a triceratops that shot exploding rocks out of his head.
Floating rocks. And you guys got me this amazing piece of art. Can we see that?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There it is,
Yeah.
right there. That's a
Awesome.
great Tundra.
Yeah.
All right, I had to think long and hard about mine because I was also a huge Herculoids fan, but not as big as Josh. But I did love, and I always did love Frankenstein, and I really love the Frankenstein Junior cartoon. Whenever I saw it, coming up next, Frankenstein Junior, I got happy because this was just a jolly-go-lucky version of Frankenstein that was invented by a young boy named Buzz through science, and they'd go fight monsters and giant, city destroying apparitions or whatever. And then they'd go back to the place and do science together. It was a lot of fun for me as a young person. I also liked The Impossibles, which was a weird takeoff of the Beatles if they were superheroes. And I think my favorite from that was Multi-Man, one of the few other like Jamie over in the Marvel comics that could duplicate himself. And Multiple
I,
Man was kind of a cool one. Yeah. So yeah, Madrox. And this was just a fun cartoon, lots of colors, good visuals. The animation was better than most. I really liked it. And once again, Gold Key did have a comic book for them also. So that's everybody, right?
Yeah.
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 I'm going to throw an honorable mention in for Samson and Goliath, which was another great cartoon, though that one did have a little bit of a religious bent. And if you have one that you think is better, let us know. Put it in the comments below, but also hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does help us get to more people, and we appreciate you.
And I'm going to throw in an honorable mention for Birdman, uh,
Birdman!
uh, who also had a reboot in Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, which was also a great series on the Cartoon Network. But
All right, we're running
his
long.
60s television was great too.
If you were interested in the number one super guy, that's Hong Kong Fooey. We're doing a podcast on him. Go check out our podcast wherever you find podcasts. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody. Bye bye.
For the long box, guys.
Yeah. Bye.